Welcome to the Junior Jobs Podcast, where we interview recently hired junior developers and industry experts to unpack the job search strategies that are actually working in today's job market. Today I'm chatting with Derek Kim, a career changer where we discuss how his longer resume format and unique approach to LinkedIn outreach netted him his first job in tech. All right, Derek, thank you for joining us for this episode.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
Yes, excited to hear your story, as we like to highlight new developers coming into the field from non-traditional backgrounds, and we really like to unpack the exact steps that it took for you to find your first job in tech, as it's a really difficult job market right now. So
Yeah, for
looking
sure.
at your experience, you came from you're not a CS major, and you were able to get your first job a few months ago, I see, as an iOS developer at Dayforce, correct?
Yep, exactly. I started on January this year.
All right. So help me understand the exact kind of series of events that led to you finding that opportunity and getting employed. Can you unpack that a bit?
Yeah, for sure. I guess there's multiple steps that were involved with it. There's of course preparing a good resume, and there's of course the job searching. Unfortunately, the job postings were available to public. It was posted multiple times, but it wasn't really that first time apply and get the job sort of thing. Unfortunately, I did have to apply multiple times before I actually heard back from them. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was my fourth try applying to the same exact position throughout many, many months. So it wasn't just like I saw this post, apply and get a job. No, it wasn't like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, that's really interesting. So, was it the same post that had just stayed open for several months, or did did the opening keep getting taken down and then put back up? What do you mean you reapplied for several times?
Yeah, so it was actually a post that got taken down. And then a few months later, it got opened again. It got taken down. Maybe they found someone else. And then I had to apply again to the new posting. So yeah, it was keep in a cycle.
So after you've been at the company now, do you know a little bit about what was going on during that time? Were people being hired and then let go, or were they just not finding qualified candidates? So their requirements were getting like less and less strict, and they were more and more open to other people.
Yeah, so I think it's mostly it's not probably because they were laying off people. It was more so that it was an intern opportunity, but it's actually 8 months to 12 months. So it's kind of like not the standard internship, right? So what I'm thinking is that they had this intern come in, they worked for 4 or 8 months, however months that they applied for, and then the position got opened again, or the quota expanded, and then the position was posted again. So I was applying to that position whenever it was posted and got available.
So then the final time where you actually were able to get an interview and stuff, you still actively applied to that role. The company did not, as they say, keep your application on file for later and circle back. So is it true that you reached out and initiated that contact, or did they reach out to reinitiate?
So I actually had to apply, but I don't think it was more like they kept my resume or anything. I'm not even sure if they have a track of my previous history of applications. But every time I applied, I have always made a new version of my resume. I kept improving my descriptions of the projects that I did, and even the experiences, like the volunteer experience that I did for Flutter development. I kept improving my word explanation. And the final version that I actually heard back from them had a huge improvement from the previous ones, which I can talk more in depth. But I think that has actually let me get a response back from them.
This is a very interesting case study because you have a very clear before and after of a very specific change that you made that lets you get to a job offer. I feel like a lot of times people kind of just make a lot of changes and they kind of hope it sticks somewhere. But since each company is different and kind of everybody reads resumes differently, it's kind of hard to really gauge how much a specific change
Mhm.
really did affect your job search. But this is the same company, right? Within a few short months. So obviously something was different there. Yeah, can you unpack a bit about what those specific changes were?
Right. Yeah, I can definitely share it with you and everyone. So basically, there's a like I guess there's a rule among all tech applicants that you can't have more than one page of resume, right? Like you have to have everything within that short little one page format. While I 100% agree because I've been doing a major research and, not a lot of recruiters spend more than 7 seconds to review each candidate's resume, right? But I try to think the opposite and try to think how I can make them like recruiters or hiring manager stay longer at my resume. And that was by keeping my resume more interested. By interested or interesting, I mean, when they scroll down, I wanted to show them what I built or what I've made previously as my personal projects or real world applications that I deployed on Apple stores, things like that. I decided to create a visual portfolio as well. And by visual portfolio, I mean, I actually went on Figma and created all the prototypes of my real working applications, took a screenshot and placed it in an iPhone prototype. And I actually used Google presentations to make 4 cells. And I placed each screen with the phone screen on the outside. And I actually made a 7 to 8 pages long worth of just screenshots and the links to it, like GitHub repository, Google Play Store links or Apple Store links. While I think not every single company prefers that because it exceeds a lot of memory and some companies don't even accept more than 2 MB. But I think my response rate kind of went up from 0 to like 10% at least. And I think 10% is quite significant in this time of season.
Oh yeah, that is so interesting because that does fly in the face of a lot of traditional advice that you see online. So to
Mhm.
clarify, to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, you had still like a one-page text-based description of your work history, but then you had another 6 or 7 pages after that, of just screenshots and hyperlinks.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Man, that's actually a really interesting idea that I would love to see others try because oftentimes I feel like even the resumes that I've reviewed, it's true. You skim looking for relevant work experience, and a lot of companies will see personal projects and then kind of not even care,
Yes.
right? They
Yes.
assume, oh, they see that you're new. Okay, assume it's going to be, weather tracker app, tic tac toe or something, a to do list tracker, uh, and they kind of bypass that. But that first screen, that strategy there is different than the strategy when you're actually in the interview process or a couple of steps in, because that first screen is a non-technical recruiter, typically. They don't know anything about coding. So indexing more on a visual presentation uh, might be the winning strategy there. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And I think as you get more experience and as you enter more senior positions, right, I don't think the strategy is going to work out because
Hmm.
you're just gonna want to have a lot of experiences that you had in the previous companies. But as a starter like myself or whoever is watching this, it's gonna be hard to show your experience. Your chances are you probably haven't done much compared to a lot of other experienced developers. So I had to find a way to like appeal my strengths, appeal my capability as a developer, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
one way of doing that was trying to be non-technical because the first screening is always going to be the recruiter or the hiring manager, the non-technical folks. And then once they pass those resume on to the engineering manager or the team, then they're going to care about the code quality that you make. So I just wanted to do that to pass those first screening phase.
Yeah, yeah, and it worked for you. And that is a strategy that's not just for your resume, but for your LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Like for example, if you go to my LinkedIn, and full disclosure, I'm not looking for works, so it's optimized in a different way than for a software engineer looking for work. But if you scroll down to my work experience, uh, you can attach screenshots of the applications that you've built. So once again, it's one or two less clicks that a recruiter has to make to try and find the evidence that you know what you're doing, and you surface it that much quicker. So then they don't have to spend so much time following you. It's right there. It's surfaced and it's easy to find.
Exactly. And you'd be surprised how many people like miss out on those features on LinkedIn because you can do so many things. Like even adding screenshots and adding links do really help. It turns
Yeah.
out because they
Yeah.
do look for them.
Yeah, it's typically like the first thing a recruiter will do. They'll get your resume. If it kind of passes the first smell test, they'll go pull up your LinkedIn to try to get
Right.
a little bit more information about you. So you want to make sure that they are both visually appealing, attractive, and highlight the right experience. You want to make sure they're both telling the same story.
Mhm, exactly.
Yeah, something else I want to pull on that thread a little bit here, just to call out for those that are listening, is a common response that you will hear recruiters say in a rejection email is, "Thank you for applying. We'll keep your application on file in case an opening comes up in the future." Blah blah blah. I have Okay, I'm talking about my own personal experience, and I'm speaking from the experience of the hundreds of mentees that I've helped find work. That has never happened. A recruiter has almost never reached back out that I have seen. So just because you're rejected once for an opening doesn't mean you can't immediately throw yourself back into the candidate pool. So I love that how confident you were in your abilities to keep reaching back out and bringing your application to their awareness.
Yeah, and I personally have never really experienced it. I did have one company that ghosted me, reach out like 2, 3 months later saying, "Hey, this position opened again. Would you like to do an interview?" And they ghosted me again. So I guess it doesn't really count. So
What
yeah,
are they doing to you, man? What are they doing out there? That's
yeah.
horrible to get your hopes up for nothing.
Mhm.
So then, okay, going back and talking about the exact steps here. So you saw this opening, you applied multiple times. Where did you see that opening?
So I actually saw the posting from LinkedIn.
Okay.
And it was one of those where it wasn't from jobs tab. It was one of those notifications that LinkedIn sends you saying, "Hey,
Oh,
there are some recommended job postings for you. Would you like to take a look at them?" And they give you like five each from the email. Um, and it just kind of caught my eye first time. And then I kind of noted down the company because I really wanted to work for them after doing a little bit of an investigation of the company. And then I was able to keep track of their job posting because I knew where they were. But at first, it was the recommendation from LinkedIn.
okay. Yeah. So setting up passive systems that expose you to new opportunities instead of relying on you actively trying to pursue opportunities every day. I've heard commonly referred to as like a fishing versus hunting analogy.
Yeah.
Whereas fishing, you kind of you put those notifications out there, and LinkedIn will just kind of trigger you and let you know passively openings that match certain criteria. Uh, Versus you having to go type in, every day a specific, search query
Mhm.
and work through those responses. That's very interesting. So not just the jobs tab, any other perspective on how a candidate can use LinkedIn, the quote unquote the right way, so that they can build relationships with hiring managers or kind of improve their chances of getting a call back from an application. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, so I actually have this one strategy that I myself have never really seen other people do. And I use this strategy more than I go to jobs tab. So I actually saw this Instagram Reels like long time ago, and it actually helped me a lot. Is when you go to LinkedIn and there's a search bar and there's other tabs, right? So I would go to search bar and I would type in the position that I want within the quotation, and I would actually type and, and I would also type in the city that I want to work on, like Calgary or Toronto, wherever, with also in quotation and hiring. And once you do that query search, it actually does a really good job filtering out everything that is irrelevant, sorry, um, other than the search keyword that you entered in. So say I'm an iOS developer, I want to look for iOS developer that is hiring within Canada. I would do quotation iOS developer and quotation Canada and hiring. And then and then it would give you all these postings that hiring managers, recruiters are actually posting on LinkedIn. Now you have to be careful because there are a lot of I don't want to say irrelevant, but there are a lot of recruiters outside of Canada trying to find random candidates, right? You just want to be careful of those, but there are actually legitimate engineering managers or recruiters posting for their own team. And
Mhm.
you want to find those postings because that's actually going to be that's actually going to give you the high chance of response rates and get you that first interview that you want. And by doing this, I was able to get at least 4 or 5 direct referrals, and actually moving on to the interview. Even though I was kind of underqualified for the position, because it was a referral, they actually gave
Mhm.
me a chance to try it out, which I of course didn't make it to the end. But
Sure. But I feel like most people just need an opportunity to share their story.
mhm,
And if anything, getting that interview experience helped you later down the road when you did have an actual,
yeah.
real opportunity on the line. So to clarify here, then, these are recruiters, hiring managers talk about hiring for their team. You responded or you commented on the post, or did you message them privately, throwing your hat in the ring, so to speak?
Yeah. So I try not to be one of those people that look like we're just trying to bother them or anything. But I actually use LinkedIn Premium, which is a bit pricey, but I still used it anyways. I used email to actually reach out to them. Most of the time, they'll probably receive thousands of emails, so you'll not be responded. But there are people that actually respond back to you and say, "Hey, can you send me your resume or something like that?"
Mhm.
So I actually reached out to them personally. But my suggestion is to be really polite and keep it really clear. Don't be too short. Don't be too long. Just, express yourself, express your interest and reach out to them personally. And there are people that actually respond back to you and give you those referrals if you make a good relationship with them.
Yeah, that strategy, what I'll say I like about it is it creates a human connection with you and somebody who's
Yeah.
hiring on the other team.
Mhm.
And you know that that role that they're hiring for is actually like an active role if there is somebody online talking about it. I
Yeah.
feel like so many opportunities get posted on social media, and if you apply directly via like Easy Apply or even on something like Indeed.com, you can get like an auto rejection email from a no reply email address. And then how do you follow up on that? Right. But this way, at least you establish a connection. You can put your name in the ring. You can have a conversation about it, and you can follow up with somebody if you're not hearing back from them. Where you can't necessarily hear back if you're getting ghosted if you apply through other means.
Mhm.
So that's great. So then you got your first opportunity here. This for your current employer. How long after you applied until you heard back and were asked to come back for an interview?
So I think for this company, I think it took about actually less than a week, I think. And I kind of want to say, I don't want to generalize things, but it seems like the sooner you hear back, there's more chances, there's more likeliness of you getting that interview. Like if it passes 2, 3 weeks, I think it's mostly a rejection without a notice sort of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, what I've seen is there's a heavy bias towards early applicants for any posting. Because what I've seen happen is maybe that first week or so, the recruiters are reviewing applicants and then decide the subset they're going to move on to the next phase, step two, step three, interview four, five. Um, to get those next series of interviews lined up, that can be another several weeks or months. And if you apply a month later, there may already be a handful of candidates near the end of the interview process, but they keep the job posting open anyway, just in case somebody falls through.
Yeah.
Uh, so then only if all five fall through do they then, okay, circle back and then now let's find another batch to push through the process. Um, so I've even seen companies leave the job posting open even after somebody has accepted an offer and they wait until after the candidate's first day on the job just in
Wow.
case they don't even show up,
Mhm.
right? So then now you're talking a 2 or 3 month process where a job opening is technically open, but they were really only looking at like that first week of candidates. Those are really the only ones that have a legitimate shot at getting
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah. Which is a bummer.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So respond fast. Notifications. You talked about that. Seeing posts from people that are active. Today about a specific opening. are going to be the path forward instead of, applying to openings that have been up for 2 or 3 months at a time.
Mhm.
So I want to give you an opportunity, Derek. As you look back on your job search experience, are there any tools or programs or services, people, organizations, etc., that you wish you knew about earlier on in your journey that you think would be helpful to those that are just trying to look for work right now?
Yeah. So I've honestly tried like so many different things online. Like one of those websites that have all the remote jobs or all the startup companies. Like I think they used to call it Angel List, but now they have a different name. And also like Y Combinator, job postings, so many different things. Um, Tends to be similar with like if you're not getting any response from the job applications that you make on LinkedIn or Indeed, the chances are you're probably not going to get response back from any other platforms. So what my first suggestion is, if you're not hearing back from your job applications, I would first ask you to visit back to your resume, because the chances are you're most likely getting screened out by ATS screening, the applicant tracking system, where the system will just compare your resume with their job description. If your percentage falls below a certain percentage, like let's say your matching rate is like below 40%, the real person is not even going to look at your resume, unfortunately. Is what my personal experience is. I don't know if it's legitimate, but that's just coming from my experience. So
Sure. Yeah, whether
the
it's a
tool,
human or a computer, yeah, there's no use
yeah,
in sending out the same resume over and over again and to
right.
expect a different result, right? Unless you got to
Yeah,
change something first.
exactly. So, if that's happening to you, I actually suggest you a tool for ATS scanning tools online. I think one of the free ones that I used was jobscan.co or something like that. They give you like 5 free trials for you to upload your resume and paste in the job description that you plan on applying. And they give you this matching rates of how many percentage you're matching with this job description and what are the skills that you need to, add on to your resume to increase your chance. So start with that. I always say if your response rate is like less than 10%, let's say 5% now, it's even harder nowadays. Like I try fixing your resume first and try to get that screening passed.
All right. Well, you heard it from the man himself, Derek. It worked for you, so definitely go ahead and check it out, see if it works for you. Well, Derek, it's been a great conversation. That's all the time we have for today. So, everybody that's listening, I just want to say thank you for listening. Derek, thank you for coming on, and we will see you all next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Junior Jobs Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe, as that helps us reach more developers in need. And don't forget to check the show notes for details on today's sponsor and other job search services that we provide.